Good morning. I'm Julia Cordova, and welcome to the Place Your Trades Network. Today, my guest is Catherine Felix, and we will be talking about waiting for the right trade setups. So today's broadcast is brought to you by Tradeabate, which has built a custom app dedicated to trading event contracts. It's what we're all using at Place Your Trades. Use the link in the chat to start using the Tradeabate web app for free, where you can follow along and make your own picks. And make sure you like and subscribe, ding, to our channel and set notifications so you never miss our podcast. Oh, okay. So first of all, I did a poll last night. I had been doing polls on Sunday nights, and the hit rate, the success rate was incredible. Like literally 6 out of 8 so far correct. And I think that's pretty good in the grand scheme of things, especially on FinTwit polls. So I kept the poll to 20 minutes. And I did it on Sunday night, and then I'm going to be placing the trade later today. So, and I first wanted to talk about also, last week you saw me post one of my event contract trades that was a yes for ES to get to 40.50. I bought those contracts for 75 cents a piece, and they went to $20. So first of all, I want to say that was not the first time that I attempted that trade. I had a few times prior to that, the past week and the week before also, that I tried that because I figured there would be one day that would be absolutely insane, and I just wanted to be able to catch it for the sake of catching it. My best trade prior to that, or the one with the biggest return on what I had done, was I had taken a Natty contract for $1 that went to $20. And Natty's crazy, right? We never know what's going to happen with Natty, but I just wanted to beat my record. So I figured, you know what, why not try it? And so that's what happened. However, I will say that a lot of times I use these event contracts, not just yes or no. I mean, clearly that's important because the way it closes is whether or not you're going to get $20 or $0. But it's really a way for me to sort of scalp without using futures if I don't want to use futures. So for something like copper that I'm not used to watching on, the 15-minute charts, I don't know exactly what the price movement looks like. I'll use event contracts for something like that, and then I won't wait until it closes, right? If I have profit, I'll take profit, at least partial profit, if I think it's going up more, and then I'll leave it like that. So I just wanted to say that up front and let you know that. And I am super excited to talk to Catherine Felix. We were chit-chatting a little bit before we went on the air, and the producer's like, sorry to interrupt, but because we were just, you're going to love her. You're going to absolutely love her. So with that said, let's go ahead and bring in Catherine so we can ask her questions. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it's early where you are. You are all the way on the other coast from me. So I very much appreciate you taking the time this morning to join me. Thank you.
Yes, I think those of us that are on the West Coast, we're typically up by 4:35 a.m. Most mornings. 5:30 if I'm really kind of playing it loosey-goosey. Because you got to wake up. Well, for me, I have like a whole morning ritual that I have to do that kind of tells my brain like we're going to, get in the mode.
So what is the ritual you go through every morning before you start trading? What do you do?
So first coffee. Then I try to do like a little bit of meditation. I'm kind of like very scatterbrained, so I typically only do a few minutes. And then I stretch, brush my teeth, and then kind of like play like a couple of songs. I have this playlist called Pump Up. And I've posted a few songs about my decompression and my pumping up playlist. They're two different ones. So At the end of the day, I like to try to listen to like decompressive music to kind of de-elevate me. And then in the morning, it's like, and sometimes it's like Elsa Let It Go, like Disney songs. It's not necessarily like Eye of the Tiger, but just something that tells my brain like, hey, it's 5:30 in the morning, but get the F up and let's go.
So I love that. I love that you have something you do every single morning. That I think, I guess I do too, but I don't think I did it on purpose. But yeah, for me, I like to go for a walk. I like to get outside. I like to get moving. I like to see, things moving, but I just like to have that going for me every morning. To me, it wakes me up. I don't always do it, but I think I do better when I do it. So I'm glad you brought that up. So Yeah.
Days that I've missed, I noticed are usually the days I'm a little bit more scatterbrained.
Yeah, yeah. So we were talking a little bit before. I use technical analysis. You use technical analysis. Can you walk us through? So when you first started trading, how did you even figure out what was going on? What are the things that you started to do? What did you look at and figure out from there? What did you? And by the way,
yeah.
By the way, guys, Catherine has COVID. She has COVID like
Sorry.
right now, but she's so kind. She said, she goes, "Am I sweaty?" I'm like, "No, girl, you're glowing. You are glowing."
Okay, so the question was like what I started looking at first.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people ask me that. They're like, Julia, I don't know how to read a chart. I don't know how to do anything. I'm just kind of reading about somebody's like, this is a hot pick for today, and then they just buy it because they trust this person on the internet.
You're
You
gonna
know what I
laugh.
mean?
When I first started looking at trading, I believe one of the first things I typed into Google when I started getting a little bit more serious about the market, because everybody does that high school econ assignment where they're like, hey, like you're gonna follow a stock, and I kind of liked it from then. And then after that, I Googled body of a candle. So then I found out like how the candle kind of like is formed, and then I started looking into. So I'm really into sociology, so I started looking into the psychology behind the candle on like what creates the bag holders and what creates the demand and the supply, which took me down a rabbit hole of supply and demand theory. So it's essentially identifying these larger imbalances on larger time frame charts. And those are the ones that I typically find the best hit rate at. And it's really hard to be patient for these large imbalances, but I just can't stress enough that that's the easiest trade is when they're trading in these large imbalances. So like right now I have demand somewhere around 399 to 401, 402 on SPY. So that's what I'm looking at this week. I'm just looking for that low to hold. I wouldn't be surprised at an excess low and then a dip and rip is kind of what I'm speculating this week, but kind of just taking an eyeball. So I started looking at that, and then I just was part of a Discord for many years. Somebody actually follows me on Twitter that I used to be part of that Discord with. So he always kind of like will comment to me and stuff. But we actually learned how to chart together. So we would draw lines and we'd compare and we'd go over, okay, well, did this work? Did it not work? And then I would say about 2 years ago, I added in the momentum indicator. So I use it as like extremes. So typically I'll look at it on the daily chart, and then if it's hitting the higher or the lower band of the momentum, and then I'll look to place a trade. And then the last thing I do is I also trade. I also chart ES, but I don't trade it, which I've had a lot of comments from people like, come over to the future side of life. But I don't trade ES. I chart it as an additional confirmation to my SPY. So typically when those two align is when I'm the most bullish or bearish, or most confirmations for my trade.
I love that. So, okay, that's fantastic. So do you when you say you trade SPY, do you trade options, or do you trade the common?
Yeah, no, I trade the options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do 0 DTE, or do you do like?
I like 5 to 7 day DTE.
Yeah.
I find the 0 kind of sparks up my anxiety, even if I only have like a few $100s in it. And then, which is funny because the 7 day moves pretty fast too. But I guess I've gaslit myself that it's like a huge difference. I don't know. I find that it doesn't die as fast. And if I do have a runner, like something where I'm like, oh, I think this is going to continue overnight. If I have a 7 day, sometimes if I sell like 80% of the position, I'll be like, oh, like I can let that one fly and see what happens with it tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that. So I do the weekly on different stocks that I like, but so the reason so these event contracts are basically 0 DTE options. So I have seen some people, I got a little jealous, honestly, because I've seen some people on Twitter, like they post these unbelievable gains that, and it seems like they win a lot. But so that's why I'm kind of interested in them, only because they're cheap. They're so cheap, like literally 75 cents, not like one of those 75 cents is $750, not one of those, right? But it's actually literally 75 cents. So that's not why. Yeah. But so this is kind of my first time doing them anyway. So are you a person that looks, so do you do supply and demand? You had mentioned in your past life, you also sort of, past job life, you looked at supply and demand as well. How do you see that on a chart? Are you looking at volume? Are you looking at,
I'm really looking for a cluster of candles that are balancing. So I'll look at, I guess it's easier to show on a chart, but when we were trading around 480, I don't know if people realize, but we were there for 2 weeks between about 470 to 484-ish area. Now that we've declined for this last 8-9 months, that created a 2-week supply at that top. So that is a large supply, meaning that if price were to enter into that area again, sellers are that have been essentially got screwed there, are going to start selling the shit out of that area. So that's kind of the idea. And then I also pair it with gap analysis. So I find that gaps are, and when I post my chart, I'll usually post the gap in red or green to indicate whether it's a gap up or a gap down. And the way it works is that when price first hits a gap, it's a resistance, right?
Yes.
And as it goes through the gap, it becomes support. So if it makes it all the way through the gap and it's trading above and it kind of stays, it becomes support. So I look at supply and demand theory and gap analysis kind of the same, where I'm just trying to find where people got screwed over in the market, because those are where the reactions are going to be.
I love that you said that, because I definitely remember when I was first trading, I would buy something, it would go down, and then the second it would get back to where I bought it, I would sell it, because you basically described my behavior. And then of course, then it would go up. Then I would get annoyed that I sold it. I'd buy it higher, and then it would go back down.
Exactly. And then you just became a bad holder again.
Yes. So you were exactly describing this. I use psychology too, because I definitely took note of everything that I was doing incorrectly when I first started. I just fade past Cordova. That's what I do.
I say that all, and I've seen you post that about 1.5 years ago. And it's so true, because I do the same thing. I'm like, what would past Catherine have done? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get her.
It's so funny, because I'm also somebody, you probably too, I could tell, we're raised to have a lot of self-confidence, whatever, but the market is so humbling that even if you think, the smarter you think you are, potentially, the more you're going to screw yourself. Because I did
that for a while.
So
I just thought I was so smart.
Yeah. So what was there a particular moment where you had the aha moment that you figured out, okay, I think I know what I'm doing? Did you log your trades? Were you were you sort of giving yourself a certain amount of time to be successful? What was your process when you were going through this?
It's funny, because you saying that, the time to be successful, I think that put a lot of pressure on me. So that actually was a detriment, because I had in my mind, I'm going to perfect this. I think it was 2 years was the original timeline. And then I found myself at the end of 2 years and really defeated. And I had this edge where I was charting these really great moves. I was getting these really great swings in the market, but I wasn't executing them right. And I have a really, really dear friend of mine who's a teacher. Well, now she's an administrator, but she was a teacher at the time. And she was like, have you heard of behavioral therapy? And I was like, what's wrong with me? She's like, well, you must be getting some dopamine or some serotonin from doing the wrong thing. For some reason or another, you're being compulsive. It's something is drawing you to do that. So she was giving me some little papers to write, what my feelings, kind of what that FOMO feeling, kind of breaking it down, what adrenaline and what are you getting out of it, and can you replace it? So one of her suggestions was actually get a little gambling app on your phone and like do the gambling app. So you're still getting that risk, you're still getting that dopamine hit, but you're spending $10-15 versus your whole position in the market. And I struggled with that for another year. And then finally, I guess that was the aha moment of just like, like I have to replace this behavior with this behavior. And I still mess up all the time.
And everybody does, right? And that's another thing. That's one reason that I think I was one of your early followers on Twitter. I like to say that I was. I think I was, because I remember following you for years. And I remember whenever I see your tweets, I can tell that you're authentic. I have a BS detector. I do. I can tell. When I see somebody's trades, I can also tell when somebody's hurting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's the empath in me, but I'm like, oh, that person's in a lot of pain. And I hope, whatever. But anyway, you are authentic. You post, your actual, you're like, well, I had to screw that. I took a loss on it, and then moving on to the next one. So that's one reason that I really admire you as a person. And I think, I don't know if it's a woman thing, because I've seen other people do it, but I just feel like you're very relatable, because I love your trades that you post. Okay. Anyway.
Thank you. I really love your work too. And I think I post the losing ones too, because when I first was trading, I would always see all these winning people, and it made me feel like something was wrong with me. And it took me a very long time to realize that I look at the losing trades now as like hell yeah, like now I'm closer to my winning one, because I'm gonna have losers. I'm gonna have them. I use TraderView to kind of keep track of all my trades, and I don't know if you've seen the TraderView interface, but it gives you charts about your performance and all of that. And that's kind of what I use. I loved like looking at my performance and kind of where I'm at.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love that. No, I post losing trades too, and it's important to not have a stigma associated with it, because the most successful traders, of course, lose trade. Of course, you're going to lose. You can even lose more than 50% of your trades and make money. It's not about not having losing trades. It's about how you manage the losing trades, right? Mm-hmm. So, so far we're like, and that's, I've tried to do this, like just out in the open about when I'm adding to something that I'm losing for, because, again, talking about, my own psychology, I know that I get FOMO. I know that I do. So a lot of times what I try to do is, if I think something is going to go to the moon, I get like a starter position in it. And then I'll set I'll set the rest of my position to come in where my stop loss should have been, Yeah. So I'm totally fading myself in this, but like, that's something I do a lot, because it works well.
It's funny that you say that, because a couple of weeks ago, I actually bought myself a put to die. So when the put dies, I'm gonna go short. So it was about 2 weeks ago. I was essentially saying, like, I was targeting 408. It's posted on my Twitter, but I was targeting 408. We were trading like at 395 or something, and I said I bought a put here. Even though, I did buy calls at the same time because I was calculating up. But I bought like a cheap put, because I was like, when this dies, I'm gonna go short, and kind of look at that. So I always do that to myself too, or I'll put little burner trades. And at first, I never used to do that. I used to be like, oh, that's just wasting money. And then you lose enough money the other way, and you're like, maybe sacrificing a little bit, because then I feel like, okay, I know this is going to be good, because if the put went down 90%, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of other, it has to go the other way. At least for like my charting, I noticed that that's what happens when it's to one extreme. It'll kind of bounce the other way, even if it's short.
Same. I do that all the time. And I mean, like I when I was trying to get this, I felt like a batter at plate trying to get this 40-50 trade, because I knew it would happen suddenly. So I said several days, I was like, well, those calls went to heaven. I'm like, well, did they go to heaven, or did they go to the bad place? I don't know. But like, that happened several times, but I was like, all right, I'm going to swing again. You know what I mean? Like, just knowing that I knew I was going to hit jackpot pretty
Well,
soon.
that's what I love about the options, right? So you
Yeah.
could your risk reward is very clearly defined. So I mean, when you talk about a 75-cent trade, that's all you're going to lose. But you have the opportunity for a 20x.
Yeah.
So for me, when I see these people that post their 20 times wins and stuff, I immediately think to my friend about behavioral therapy, because everybody that I've known that hits those really big ones, they're always looking for that high. They're
Yes.
looking for that high, and it's so dangerous to constantly look for those. I mean, am I excited when I get a bagger? Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. But am I going to shit on 10, 15%?
No.
If I see it going the other way? Like, no.
No, that's what I mean. So that's kind of what I was doing. I was degenning out because because it's true, because I am like miss partial profit in order to say that I won the trade. You know what I mean? Like that's almost immediately I'll take partial profit just to have the win in there and set everything so that if it goes down. I did the same thing with my Tesla calls. Like I did 2 sets of calls. I did one that was like weekly lottery, and then I did another it's way out. But the weekly lottery, I got rid of those immediately. I was like, oh, I hope that it doesn't go to the freaking moon without me. But the truth is, like, if you can make 20% on something you did the day before, who cares if it goes? Like, you don't even want to look. You're just like, all right, like I don't see that. And then people will say, wow, you made a lot of money. I'm like, I made some, but
I could have made so much more.
Yeah, it's true.
That FOMO is so dangerous.
It's so bad.
Struggled. That was probably my biggest learning curve, moving to options.
Yeah. That. Do you scale in and out, or do you just take full profit?
Yeah, I have to scale in and out because the FOMO monsters will come get me. And I will do exactly what you were saying. Like, I'll start chasing, or I'll start overthinking it. And then I always know when I'm like too quick to go into something, I'm like, oh, I need to like relax for the day. Like,
I know.
But I'm like, oh, I was chasing that because the first time I remember I was playing AMD, and I had like a 16 times win overnight. And it was like one of their earnings reports. This was like 2-3 years ago. And I remember just thinking like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I lost like almost that entire thing pretty quickly right after. And then that's when I started taking my behavioral therapy more seriously, because I've always had these really big successes in the market. And then I would allow my behavior to waste it back. So I think mentally just accepting that a 10% is good. It's not peanuts. And if you continuously just do that, I mean, you're going to make your account.
I totally 1,000% agree with you on that. Well, Katherine, this was so fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I learned a lot about behavioral therapy. It reinforced some of the things about fading past Cordova. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing trading week. I am going to place the trade that people gave me last night right now. Okay. So, oh boy, look at that. We're down right now. I'm gonna just go to my chart. I didn't share it here. I'm just gonna take a quick look at it.
Look how tight that overnight action is, though. I mean, we don't have a very big range.
No, I agree. So for me, just because, you know what, so if you look at the days here on Wednesday, we had that huge day. Then we sort of came back tested the 200 MA. Then we had a nice little pin candle on Friday, and now we're back testing the 200 MA again. It's still, we could still happen here, guys. We could still happen. All right, let me get to my
it's dry humping downtrend resistance too from the 480 top.
Did you say it was dry humping?
Yeah. It's like right up against the line the whole time.
I love you.
That's what I think of it.
Oh boy. Wait, what was okay. All right, we're gonna choose this yes on 475. All right. Okay, so we've placed our trade. Thank you everybody so much for joining me. And Katherine,
for having me.
Thank you, and have a great day, everybody. Follow Katherine on Twitter. Follow me if you're not following me, please, and follow Place Your Trades to find out what's going on and what giveaways there are and to trade with us. Bye.
Bye.